Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to SRA's AM Division Season 2, Round 1 race opener. We're here at Silverstone. My name is Travis. I'm joined here by Evan, fellow pro driver. Evan, how's it going today?
Thanks for the warm welcomes, Trav. I'm doing quite well. Excited to be here and get some eyes on some good racing on an iconic track.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a veteran of SRA now. You joined us at the start of Season 1. So you have some experience driving with a handful of these AM drivers since we were a pro AM split last season. Is there some drivers that we should be keeping an eye out for?
Absolutely. I got some intel in free practice earlier. I saw Dave Taflovich post the fastest time. Next up, Jess Osborne. I'd keep my eyes on him. He's a real consistent driver. And if I had to pick a dark horse to take the win tonight, I'm looking for Daehee Young. Super fast. If he gets a gap, he's gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Daehee, I mean, he kind of proved himself at the end of Season 1 last year. He was a little bit timid to drive at the start. He was learning the game, but it did not take him too much time before he was, full out, just so rapid. He was keeping up with quite a few of the pro drivers too. So I'm pretty excited to see Daehee jump in and take on a full season now that he's with us.
Right, he came in, started putting up points around halfway through the first season, worked his way up. I think if he puts in a full season of work, he'll be real competitive in the AM division this season.
Just on board right now with Daniel. For some reason, number 46, or not 46, but 528 Katav Kar. Not too sure how to pronounce that name, but he is really close to the back of Alex Daniel there, so I might want to make some space, but
I'm seeing that it's a long session. No need to compromise your early laps here. Just hang back, bide your time. You'll find some space.
Exactly. Just trying to find the first driver on the actual hot lap here, but not too used to this interface. Where are we here? There we go. Got a quick note that the chat is obscuring timetable and probably move that over so that no one has to deal with that.
Looks like we got a nice little turnout here on Twitch, and if you're watching on YouTube later, join us on Twitch live. Live sports is always better than post-production. You can follow us on Twitch here. We'll get an official SRA stream going here in the next couple weeks, working on finalizing an account that will be the official face of Sim Racing Alliance. Be on the lookout, follow us on Twitch, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and stay up to date with the Pro Series and our AM Series running Tuesday and Wednesday nights.
We just had Dave Taflovich put a decent time on, definitely a time that's, for the most part, a time that the AMs are going to be aiming for. It's a 2:07. That was probably at the lower, the slower times for even the pro drivers last night. We saw, I think the pro time ended up being 58.7, thereabouts. So only 2 seconds off the pace of the fastest program there.
I think if any AM can put up a time in that 2-minute range, they'll be more than happy. If they could break into that 1:59, that should be a pole time.
Absolutely. And probably a promotion.
Yeah, I'd expect a few of these drivers are very, very close to a promotion up to the pro division. There's plenty of guys that can hang. Just need a little bit more seat time and a little proof that they can put it all together in a race like this. As we say that, B. Busick in the 717, besting Taflovich by 0.005 of a second, taking the new top spot.
Yeah, I was in the practice session with him a little bit earlier as well. Saw that he was setting times. It wasn't quite the same times that Dave was setting in that session, but he was definitely setting times just a couple tenths off. So I expect big things from him, especially in the Beamer. It's a nice stable car throughout this track, so should be a good run for Dave Taflovich's money tonight.
Yeah, that BMW is a screamer on this one. Seems to really take those high-speed corners real stable, easy to drive. Seems like you can extract quite a lot of pace out of that one.
Absolutely. Another driver that I'm kind of keeping my eye out on is Josh Damiani. He occasionally has a race where he falls down the field, doesn't keep it within the lines, or just gets caught up in incidents. But Josh is a pretty good driver overall. I've raced with him in F1 before too. He knows how to sim race, so I'm expecting him to have a bit of a bounce back season in the AM division. So I'm gonna keep my eye on him over the course of the race and over the course of the season.
Fully agree. I'd definitely put him in that dark horse category. He might not be at the top every race, but he's got the skills to do it. Just got to put it together.
Still trying to figure out here how to easily tell what drivers are going to be coming across the line next. Not the easiest though. So bear with me while I figure out all of this for the audience out there today. We do have Dave though. He's currently on a lap. Half a second down on his time though, so that won't be pushing him up. Oh, and we were just talking about Josh Damiani, but Josh Damiani actually just puts the second fastest lap, the 2 minutes 0.6, which is 0.5 back from Bradley Busick. And Bradley Busick actually improved his time on the very next lap too with the 2:01. So
he did, picking up the pace here. Tires might be coming in, dropping a little fuel, finding that time.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see Will Forsling out on the track. I think his teammate is here today too, Alex Daniel. They're old teammates of mine back in, this is pre-sim racing days when we were associated with CRL, sorry. And I used to drive with them. They're both really good drivers, very consistent. They don't get as much time on the rig as a lot of us do, but when they do and when they are able to drop into the rig, they're pretty good, and they enjoy it. They clearly really enjoy just coming out and having a good time. So they're fun drivers to watch. They're not, they're probably not going to be pushing for podiums too often, but they'll have their good races, and they'll definitely give us a fun few battles to watch over the course of the season.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I haven't really seen him drive, but I'll take your word for it. Seems like a lot of these guys have plenty of pace. Seems to be the difference is just seat time, and if some of these guys can get some practice in, then they're right on the cusp of being pros. There's plenty of them out there.
Absolutely, and even just looking at the preliminary time leaderboard posts that we do throughout the week, you can tell some AM drivers have been practicing just even from last week how their times have improved 2 to 3 seconds even. We have a lot of drivers in this league who are really new to ACC for those that don't know, and they kind of joined this league pretty hesitant, not too sure. of what their pace is going to be, and within just a few weeks driving with us in open lobbies and practice sessions, all of a sudden they're right there competing with either the AM or Pro class. And it's pretty cool to see and watch these drivers evolve.
I'm perfect example of that. I was always scared to join a league. Am I fast enough? Am I going to hold people up? Am I going to cause incidents that ruin people's nights? Finally got the guts to jump in, and I am so glad I did. It's been a great experience, and just driving on track with drivers that are a little quicker or a little bit more experienced, can hold their lines, really puts the pressure on you to step up and makes you a lot better yourself. So even if you come in at the AM division, don't be afraid. There's plenty of drivers here. We got a grid of 37 tonight. There'll be plenty of battles on track, and you'll get some good seat time practice in. Highly recommend joining Sim Racing Alliance if you're on the fence about joining an ACC league. Couldn't recommend it enough.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We did have Dave dip into the 59, so Dave's sitting at a 59.9 now, followed closely by Busek, who's sitting at a 2:01. He's car 717. So the two BMWs, or sorry, at the top we have two BMWs, and definitely showing why that car it is so widely used, because it is a really nice stable car, especially like we discussed around Silverstone. Damiani, still in the 2:06. He's on a bit of a cool down lap, but that Aston Martin definitely takes the curves really nicely as well. So be interesting to see if he can improve. There's only, I forgot this was actually a long qualifying session. So half-hour qualifying session today with almost 40 drivers on the grid. So they can definitely come into the pits a couple of times, throw on some new boots, and head back out there.
Yeah, it seems like the admin sent out a 20 car field for the first 15 minutes here, post their times, and then give a little bit more space for the rest of the cars that are sitting in the pits right now. I'll have the second 15 minutes to get their qualifying times in.
Perfect. Yeah, that's for those that weren't with us last year. That's the method we went with last year, just to send out our AMs first, and then we'd had the pros come out, set their times afterwards. So it was a good little split. Made sure that a lot of us had the room that we needed, and just keep preventing us from backing up. Yes, good times.
Yeah, I feel like it's fair for everybody to give as much space as possible. You don't feel the pressure of the car right in your rear view and compromising your qualifying times. Qualifying can be everything in some of these races. If you put yourself out front and get a good start, really sets up your race a lot better than compromising your qualifying and ending up behind the field. So
totally,
really a great move to space the cars out here, and it takes a little bit extra time, but I think we'll see better results in the end because of it.
Just on board with Gavin Thomas here, who's currently 6/10 up coming into the final corner. Gavin's another one of those drivers who joined us last season, really new to ACC, and has just shown that he can be a consistent driver as he improves to a 201.4, so that bumps him up to 7th of 37 drivers. So that's a good run from Gavin.
That really is. He was asking me actually about the Bentley, and I got him convinced to give it a shot. He's running for the Bentley Boys Club AM division this season. Seems to be settling into the car real nice.
Yeah, that car definitely looked familiar on the grid there. I've seen that Bentley one too many times last season.
That's the classic. I think we'll be running a new livery in week 2 for the rest of the season, but had to give us a throwback to season 1 Bentley Boys Club.
Perfect. Will crosses the line. He bumps himself up to P8 with a 202.0. So a little bit of a gap between first place and 8th right now. We have Dave still with a 159.9. 8th with Will is currently sitting at a 202.0. So about just over a second gap. Jumping on board with Colin Shea in a very chromed out Mclaren. Wow, that thing is chromed out. But he's he's another driver that actually did really well last year, for the most part. And every now and then, as a pro driver, I'd be close to Colin, and Colin could keep up and give me a run for my money. So another driver to keep an eye out.
He is sneaky fast. I've had that same experience. I look on the timetables and I see an AM driver there. Who's this? Colin Shea. Every time. He's always there. It's surprising. He's quite fast. I'd be looking out for him to maybe improve on that time.
He's just down on his time at the moment. Doesn't have the best entrance into the final couple of corners there, but he has time to head on out, keep on pushing. He decides to pull on into the pits instead, currently sitting P5.
Well, it looks like the second half of the field is going out now.
Ah, right, okay, that does make sense. So he's sitting P5, rest of the drivers are going to come on out.
Yeah, I'm liking Taflovich's time here, 59.9. Like I said earlier, if you can break into that 59, that should be good enough for a pole time. We'll see if any of these other drivers can match that.
We have Tony Proenza starting his lap in a AMG. That's interesting to see. But Tony, also he was in the Porsche last year, and that's a really tough, really tough car to drive. So Tony every now and then had a great race in that Porsche. Gotta give him props to that, because I cannot personally drive the Porsche to save my life. So I expect big things from Tony. There's a little while where he was competing for the championship in the AM division last year, and boy did that Porsche look nice too.
Yeah, that car can really bite you, but if you can tame it, find the limit, it rewards you quite well. That AMG is a rocket out of the corners.
It sure is. So Tony looks to be leading this second group of drivers, just finishing up Sector 2 here. With those gold rims as well. Questionable design, but I personally dig the AMG. It's a sweet looking car.
Loving the body design, but I think you're right, the gold.
Gold, purple, and blue. It's ambitious.
It is.
Tony coming across the final line here. Or sorry, final corner here. Let's see, the benchmark for the second group comes across at a 2:01.9, so still some work to do, but that immediately plops him up to P8, so not a bad starting position, not a bad first lap for him to get things going.
I'd be real happy with that. He's got plenty of time to settle in and keep working.
Exactly. Just on board with a newcomer to the series, I think, Harmuth. He puts in a 2:02.0. That jumps him up to P10. So, starting to see the group cascade in as they finish up their first laps. We have Dan Meyer. So Dan Meyer is a driver, you know, struggled in season 1, also very new to the game. So it'll be interesting to see what Dan Meyer can do throughout the course of the season. Definitely has some work to do with the 2:07 there, but yeah, hopefully we see more improvement now that this is going into his second season. To Toledo in the Aston Martin jumps himself up to a P7 with a 2:01.0 for his banker, so that's a pretty good lap. That thing looks sweet. Aston Martin livery, I like it. Cognizant.
Yeah. Looking like the new F1 car. I really like that.
So current pole sitter, Dave Taflovich, who set his time in the first stint for these AM drivers, so he won't be coming back out for qualifying, but currently holds P1. We have S Nova, car number 420, driving an Audi. He's currently up on their time, 4/10 up. Coming across the line now, jumps him up just a single position to P30, so he's sitting P30 of 37 with a 2:04.2.
Looks like the 999 car Daehee Yun is on a screamer lap. He's up over a second on his Delta.
He has Dan Meyer ahead of him, so hopefully he doesn't catch up too much to the back of Dan Meyer here. He might need to actually take a cool down lap afterwards, but we'll see what he comes across here as he comes through the final corner. Loses a couple
Solid exit there. Not too bad.
Ooh, was able to manage to cut that really nicely. Jumps up to a P5 with a 2 minute and 2 minute 8/10, so not too bad with P5. Still enough time for a couple of laps. If I were him though, I'd probably jump back into the pits, and as I say, it looks like he's slowing down quite a bit, so probably jump back into the pits, slap on some new boots, get on back out there. Jumping on board with another new driver, Guzman. Unfortunately, Guzman's about 2 seconds down, so it looks like he's in the cool down lap at 2. J Rally currently almost 2 seconds up on their time, so that's quite the improvement. And the Mclaren J Rally appears to also be a new driver to the series, so welcome to you. Car number 404 for the season. Previous lap time of a 2:05, best of a 2:04, and currently 2 seconds up on their time. So they're sitting at a 2:02, which will jump them quite a bit up the grid. I'd probably say they might gain almost 10 positions if they finish off this lap.
A little shallow on the exit there, but he's still got plenty of time to work with.
And just like that, jumps up to P21 out of 37 drivers with a 2:02.4, so that's a good improvement from them. Jay Arnold just up on their time, just a 10th up. Starts to lose it on the exit a little bit there, but improvement is improvement. This actually might be enough for them to gain a single position, maybe 2 positions. Oh, there you go.
More than that.
3 positions. Up to P16 for Jay Arnold. D-Mock also a newcomer, number 105, driving the Marlboro car, so that's pretty sweet looking livery. Kudos to them if they designed that. Kudos to whoever did design it if they didn't design it. They're currently down on their time though by 8/10. Let's see who else is on there. Guzman. Guzman's currently up whole half a second, so they're on pace to jump up about 3 or 4 positions there.
Rav, it looks like you can maybe bump your mic up a little bit on the volume.
I did bump that up, so if Peter would mind letting me know, or whoever messaged that, if it's still a little low, that would be most appreciated. Guzman coming across the line now, jumps up to P11 with a 2:01.6, not a bad time from Guzman there. So we have Dahi sitting at 2 minute 8/10 lap, currently up on their time. Coming down the final stretch of Sector 3. So Dahi of this group of second AM drivers definitely showing that they have pace and showing that they could be fighting for a podium finish tonight.
Little oversteer in the turn there, lost a lot of time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Looks like he won't improve on his time.
Won't improve. Hopefully the boots aren't too worn out with that. Instantly up on their time going through sector 1, or sorry, going through turn 1 though, so that's good to see.
It looks like they got enough time for 2 shots at it if they can get the tires and the fuel to stretch.
Absolutely. We have Guzman and the McLaren coming through the final couple of corners here. Guzman currently 2/10 up. See if they have a pretty good acceleration here. Goes a bit deep, loses some time. They're only going to improve by about a 1/10 by the time they come through the finish line. Does that promote Guzman at all? It doesn't promote Guzman, unfortunately. Back over to Rally. Rally's currently... Oh, never mind. Rally is very behind on their time, but the... Is there 2 Guzmans? There is 2 Guzmans. Alright. We have another Guzman in the other McLaren currently up on their time by a whole second, so this could actually jump them quite a bit. They're currently sitting P19. Unfortunately, they just backed out of their lap. I don't know why he just backed out of his lap. That was very interesting.
Might be underfueled, not sure. But yeah, it looks like he just returned to the pits. He might not have had enough in the tank.
Yeah. Well, unfortunate for them. Dan Meyer still trying to plug away, gradually increase their time. Currently 2 to 3/10 up on their time of a 2:05.6. So still some work to do, as mentioned earlier, but improvement per lap is improvement per lap. Tony Proenza currently sitting P15 with a 2:01.9, not improving on their time, but they should be able to get around with just enough time to go out for another lap. There's a person we haven't actually quite spoken about yet is Nick Schaefer, also a returnee from Season 1. So Schaefer currently down on their time. They should be able to get around for one last lap though. I expect some improvement. I know it's there for them, so hopefully they can get in one last lap, jump their way up on the grid.
Absolutely. Looks like he got a nice exit there, getting a good run into turn 1.
We have Toledo coming up to finish their qualifying efforts here with and currently sitting P6 actually, so I missed that, but currently sitting P6, improving by 2/10, jumps up to P5, great effort by them. We have Arnold, who actually improved on their time too, jumped up to P14. And Gonzalez, who's just up on their time. Let's see if they can actually hang this last corner. They improved by 2/10 throughout the last 2 corners there. Dropped ever so
Will it be
back.
enough? Not quite.
Not quite enough to bump themselves up from P10. trying to find some other drivers who are still on the grid here. Harmouth is down on their time, so they're not going to improve. Rally is currently up on their time, so there's a chance. They are still out for their final lap. They're currently 2/10 up. That's enough to promote them beyond Will Forsling. So there's still a couple of chances of displacing a couple of drivers. We have S Nova, who's down on their time by 6/10. So it looks like our final driver out there is going to be J Rally. And hopefully Nova actually gets out of their way, because Nova is down on their time, definitely not improving. As Rally comes across the line and was not able to improve their time. So oh, how do I... There you have it, your... Oh, I wish I could show this, but I can't. There you go. So your starting grid, qualifying complete. No surprise, Dave Taflovich takes pole, followed by Busick and Damiani. Great to see Damiani up there. Daehee Yun also making a fantastic appearance in P4, so watch out for them. And a newcomer, Toledo, for P5. You have Foguth, who actually finished quite high up on the AM standings last season, so they're currently sitting P6, followed by Colin Shea. Osborne returning as well in P8. Then we have Toad in 9th and Gonzalez in 10th. So that's going to be your top 10. We're going to try and do some fun camera work here. Give me a second, guys. There we go. Heading to the start of the grid.
So as the drivers get their setups dialed here in the last 40 seconds, what do you think is the optimal strategy here? We do have a mandatory pit stop in the middle 10 minutes of the race. Are you taking tires? Are you starting with a full load of fuel? What do you think is the best move here?
You know, because we had the luxury of doing this race last night in the Pro Division, I am definitely pro... I'm definitely pro not taking tires this time around. For the AM drivers, I know that's a little bit more tricky, especially since they're not going to be accustomed to driving on such worn out tires. But if you want track position, that's probably the better bet for themselves if they kick off on the formation lap. So these guys are getting underway. But yeah, it's tough because some drivers will not be used to. Ooh, that's glitching out. Some of these drivers are not going to be used to having tire wear, and after an hour, tires can usually get pretty beaten up. So I think the right call is a heavier car and not taking tires simply for track position. But if you're worried about sliding out, take the time, take the tires, play it safe. How about you?
I do agree. If you can keep it on track with the same set of tires, I think it's quite advantageous to start with the full fuel load, take 1 liter of fuel, and do the fastest pit stop you can within the window. This track is, let's say, notorious and infamous for being heavy on the left tires with the never-ending high-speed right corners. Seems to put a lot of stress on the left side and wears them out significantly more than the right tires. So we'll see if the AM drivers are able to handle the mismatched tire wear and still make it around the track without any incidents here.
Yeah, You know, you bring up a good point, that especially for these drivers who might not have actually practiced too much throughout the week and or are new to the game, that tire strategy, it's a huge thing, and if you don't understand the tire pressures and tire temperatures, it can be pretty costly, and especially if you're making minor slides, getting your turns wrong, your tires are going to heat up even more, and it becomes pretty difficult and pretty challenging for maintaining that grip throughout the session. So yeah, for some of these drivers, they might not know that, they might not be anticipating it, but hopefully they've done the research, and hopefully they've made the right strategy call going in, and they have their pit strategy selected.
I hope so as well. It is definitely important to practice these longer stints and kind of see how the car behaves with worn tires and perhaps a heavier fuel load than the quali setups. Well, really pays off to practice. However, a lot of these amateur drivers are really just doing this for fun. They don't, practice as much perhaps as the pro drivers, and really comes down to, can you perform on the spot for an hour race? Drivers are getting some heat into their tires here, getting their minds ready for an hour-long session.
Yeah, it's definitely a longer formation lap around Silverstone. There is a lot of track to go through, especially when you're stuck to a pit limiter. So these drivers patiently waiting. They won't have optimum tire temperature for probably 1 to 2 laps in. Even less if you're in the Lexus, so I hear. But yeah, doing some weaving, probably some hard braking, some trail braking as well, and hopefully getting those temps up as much as they possibly can. Looks like they are starting to bulk up as we get to the final couple of corners here. You can see in Sector 3 right now, drivers are, figuring out where they're supposed to be. As Dave Taflovich leads them through.
Double file here, holding starting pace. Let's keep it lean. Let's keep it mean. Short run down to turn 1 here. Important to get a good start and find your space.
Green light, go,
Green, 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 off they go.
So actually a really good jump from Busick there. He's trying to go around the outside of Dave Taflovich. So far no carnage as drivers kind of figure out where they're supposed to be, but great run from Busick as he takes P1 from Dave. Dave drops back in the field, still no carnage at the moment. Just trying to figure that out as, looks like someone's gone off there, I'm not too sure who that is.
It's the 999 car, Dae Hee Yun. He'll be under fire here down the stretch.
Yeah, so Dae Hee unfortunately loses quite a few positions off the start there. Drops down to P9. It says P14 actually on the screen. It's still adjusting, still trying to sort itself out. And looks like, so actually Dave Taflovich held position from Busick. I got my timing screen wrong, so Dave Taflovich ahead of Busick, followed by Damiani. Damiani trying to chase down Busick, trying to take advantage of these drivers. Going into, heading into Sector 3 here. Osborne's making moves, gets ahead of Gonzalez in the Porsche there, so looks like Gonzalez trying to fight it back a little bit. Got a pretty good exit, just 0.2 seconds behind. Thinks better of the dive. We had Dae Hee going for a little bit of a dive. Had to brake pretty hard there to pull out of that one, so Dae Hee trying to make up positions from the get-go. Driving car 9-9.
I'm sure he'll be a little frustrated with that start, but there's a long way to go. He'll get his head down.
We have Rios going up the inside of Mox, so Rios was able to get ahead of the Marlboro car of Dean Mox. This Dave Taflovich says the fastest lap. We have Nova ahead of Greer, and so far, you know, for a start, it was a pretty clean start. We have one driver jumping into the pits, unfortunately, and that's Hisham Rimsk. So Hisham into the pits, probably, looks like he picked up quite a bit of damage. And Colin actually goes off, so Colin's going off, he's dropping places, so as, Katav Kar, pardon me for the pronunciation, but unfortunately has gone off and looks to have picked up quite a bit of damage, and so does Varghese, so Varghese has gone off too, and you know, that's such a tricky part of the track. We have Hoskin coming up from behind him, so Hoskin overtakes. It's probably going to need to pit. Looks like Mox has actually fought back for position, overtaken Rios. Sorry to cut you off there.
Oh, all good. I was going to say, it looks like the hood's rattling on those cars. They'll probably have to come in and fix it up.
So it looks like Guzman might have actually dropped down a couple of positions, probably had a bad exit. We got cars changing everywhere. We got dive bombs, and unfortunately Turner
big contact.
Yeah, big contact from Turner going into the side of Proenza. So that's definitely not the way you want to be overtaking Proenza. Trying to regain that position from Turner. Hopefully Kyle gives him the position back, but doesn't look to. There we go. Okay, so Proenza retakes that position, and that was a bit of a kerfuffle. Had a lot of position changes there.
Yeah, it's tough to see. That really caused a lot of mayhem for the drivers behind to manage. Seems like everybody's rolling and they're back to it, but yeah, that was quite the mess there.
We have Toledo right on the back of Damiani going through hangers, or sorry, Beckett's at the moment, and he got right up onto the bumper going to turn 1, so was trying to push Damiani into a mistake. Luckily, Damiani's held on so far. Damiani fallen off the back of Busick and Taflovich. Busick is pushing Taflovich around the track at the moment. Great to see these two BMWs fighting for position. Dahy unfortunately drops a spot behind Gavin Thomas, so great seeing Gavin Thomas in the top 10 there, making gains.
Looks like one of the Guzman brothers just pushed his way into the top 10. Got a nice run, catching up to Dahy and Thomas ahead.
A lot of McLarens on the grid, as you expect, and it's a pretty stable car, really nice car to drive. I've not jumped into it too many times, but every single time I do, it's a real pleasure.
Yeah, that car is really fast around high-speed corners, and at a track like Silverstone, it can be really easy to get around and carry a lot of speed. Seems to be quite popular.
Yeah, Guzman trying to chase down Dahy, and Dahy trying to make up positions here that he lost early on. Looks to be fighting the car a little bit. Might have lost a bit of confidence just from losing those early positions, but hopefully Dahy is able to get back into a rhythm and chase down Thomas ahead.
And that'll happen when you make a mistake. I don't think there was any contact there in the early stages. I think he drove the car off the track by himself.
Yeah,
that really hurts your confidence going through there every lap after.
Exactly. Yeah, it did look like that. It looks like he might have had to snap him oversteer, had to catch it, and just take a little bit of grass from him there. We had Bogut trying to send it up the inside and then switch over to a switchback on Toledo. Almost worked. It was a really good attempt, but Toledo managed to hang on. And Guzman's gone off. So Guzman's gone off at a very... Oh, no. And we have Jones, who actually ducked out of hitting in front of him. And Jones has unfortunately gone for a big slide as a result. So hopefully Jones is able to recover and catch his car there. Looks like he does for the most part, which is good. Guzman going for a huge slide through Beckett's, causing a little bit of mayhem behind him. But Jones back on the track, ready to track him back down.
As frustrating as that may be, that's probably the more level-headed move. Better to bring the car home in one piece than drive an extra 52 minutes here with the damaged car.
Yeah, absolutely. There was an incident in the pro division where one of the drivers spun out through the same area and collected a couple of drivers. No fault for their own, but just, you know, in the pro series, these drivers are driving pretty aggressive, driving to make up ground. As soon as you lose a couple seconds, it's hard to catch back up. So the drivers, unfortunately, behind got caught in that incident and had to drive the rest of the race with a little bit of damage that hindered their pace for sure. So Guzman, after getting into the top 10, has dropped down to P12, but they're able to take position back from Harmon there. So trying to make ground. Busick set the fastest lap by just a few hundredths of a second from Taflovich there. So Dave Taflovich still in the lead of the race, but Busick's trying to keep that pace going.
Hanging in that 2 minutes race pace is quite impressive here. See if they can keep that going.
Yeah, super impressive, especially considering I myself was struggling to maintain that pace for the majority of the race yesterday. But yeah, great to see these AM drivers giving us a little bit of a show, a little bit of a teaser of all that's to come. We have Osborne trying to chase down Jay Foguth at the moment. Osborne, I believe, is new to the series. Foguth, a veteran, and driving that looks to be the Wonder Bread car still.
Huge fan of that livery. Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast. Foguth goes for a little bit of a slide, but manages to catch it. Field's starting to get a little bit more spread out at the moment. Looks like Will has actually, and teammates, Will has overtaken Alex Daniels, so probably shouldn't see Will down there. Will must have had a little bit of an incident or a little bit of a slide, dropping himself back to P29. I believe he qualified around P17. Looks like Schaefer's being passed by Hartman, so and is now under pressure, big pressure by Kyle Turner. Kyle Turner thought about sending it up the inside, but backed out of that move. Hartman goes way deep. Just ahead there.
No harm, no foul. Kept it out of the grass. Tidied it up.
Oh, and Gavin
Thomas.
Gavin has gone off. Puts that thing into reverse. Hopefully didn't pick up too much damage. Might have just been some front aero. Maybe about 3 or 4 seconds of damage, but hopefully in the clear there. Thomas does the right thing, gives space, lets the drivers coming up from behind to go through without any issues. So hopefully Gavin's able to recover from that, have a bit of a bounce back.
I hope so too. He had a lot of pace there in that first run. Looks like his hood is rattling, probably picked up some front aero damage. Might be pretty tough for him to fend off any drivers behind.
We have Guzman right on the back of Turner. He's only 0.1 seconds. Looks like he's trying to go up this inside. Let's see if he's able to break in time, and he is. Great pass by Guzman. Gets around Turner. Job well done. And he looks to even be going up the inside. Oh, he thinks better of it. But that actually allowed Kyle Turner to think about sending it on him. So it's always a bit of a hit and miss when you're attacking and also having to defend at the exact same time.
Absolutely. You know, Kyle back there is just watching, wide eyes, waiting for something to happen ahead and find a slot.
Guzman clearly has the pace and sends it up the inside of Schaefer. Another fantastic pass, keeps it on the inside. So Guzman's someone to watch out for, making headway. Currently sitting P16 and now 1.9 back from P Harmon. Got Full Metal in the chat saying that's a lot of McLarens. It sure is. That is a gap, or a big chunk of McLarens all in the same battle there. Heading on back up to the top of the grid, it looks like Busic's backed off from Taflovich a little bit. Taflovich retook the fastest lap with a 2-minute and 4-second lap, 2-minute and 4/10 of a second lap. So great lap from Taflovich, has now pulled a 1.4 gap over Busic. Let's see if Busic's able to make up some time here. We do have the pit stops coming up in about 12 minutes. We're only 13 minutes into this race. Can you believe it?
That's pretty crazy. We've seen plenty of action so far, lots of back and forths, little contact here and there, but it seems like they're all pushing real hard here. It's quite exciting to watch.
Closest fight on the field right now is between Jay Foguth, Osborne, and Gonzalez. We do have a couple of drivers, and actually, as I say that, we have Guzman just 4/10 back from Hartman. So Osborne keeping an eye on Foguth there, drops a little bit back. Let's hop on back over to Guzman here, who's, I think when I stepped away, he was 2.9 back from Hartman. So Guzman is on for a charge. Had to back out of a bit of a dive there, rethought it. He'll probably try to line up Hartman going into the straight. Don't know if he's going to want to actually overtake until he until the final couple corners into sector 2. It's usually a pretty good overtaking spot. Looks like Gavin Thomas might have actually dropped back or made a little mistake. He gets passed by Colin Shea and D-Mock there. So Gavin might be struggling with a little bit of damage now. Hopefully he's able to hang on to the car for the next 10 minutes, jump in, and if he needs to repair his car, he can do so. Hopefully not take too much of a penalty as a result. Will Forsling trying to make up some time, 0.4 back from Kitav car, and car number 528, just 0.4 back. Will definitely has the consistency to be able to do so. Hopefully he's able to climb his way through a couple of positions here. But bit of a train. We have Dan Meyer in front.
Looks like Gavin Thomas is actually going into pit now. Might be fixing up that damage.
Yeah, it's too bad. Would have liked to have seen him hang on for another 10 minutes, but if the damage is too much, you can't fault the guy. Osborne's still on the back of Foguth, and that's fighting for P5, so he's made his way up there. They're actually, relatively speaking, not too far from the leader, 13 seconds back, and we know the pace of Taflovich, so they're doing pretty good keeping up there. Looks like Hartman Hartman's gone off, so gets passed by 3 drivers there. Oh, and 821 picks up a penalty, so I think, insult to injury, Gavin Thomas unfortunately also picks up a stop-go penalty of 30 seconds.
I didn't want to say anything, but I watched him go in. Looked like he came in a little hot, a little late on the brakes there.
And Kitav car goes around, and unfortunately Will Forsling was collected in that too, so might have been an incident between Will and Kitav car there, which allowed for Martin to pick up that position. So Martin, he could actually be a fast, he has, every now and then he has instances where he's a pretty quick driver, so we'll see if he's able to make up positions from P26. It looks like his car has a little bit of damage, side pod damage, but nothing too crazy. And Colin Shea actively trying to chase down D-Mock. Colin is out of position in P20, so he'll be trying to regain positions that he's lost. He's definitely capable of it, especially that chrome McLaren. D-Mock goes on the defensive there, the Marlboro.
compromises his corner speed there, he might have a run into Maggots and Beckett's.
Thinks better of it though. Let's see if he can set up a run here going to the back. It's a little bit deep, but relatively okay. He might have a good run.
See how this plays out. Going defensive again from Mock. Let's see what happens.
Colin's going to get a good run on him. Might be able to go up the inside.
Looking for it.
He is looking for it. Let's see. Oh, goes super deep from D Mock. Might get the switch back here. That's a job well done. Fantastic overtake by Colin Shea. And that actually
great pressure there.
D-Mock under pressure by Proenza now too. So Proenza follows Shea through. So these two drivers, like I said, they're out of position. Proenza and Colin Shea, they should be up there in top 10 position. So they're driving angry. Ooh, Colin goes super deep. Comes back onto the track safely though. Proenza trying to do a bit of a... Oh no! Colin Shea, snap of oversteer, and there goes Proenza off into the distance. That's too bad. Colin unfortunately got a huge snap of oversteer there, tried to catch it, and wasn't able to hang on.
I've just dipped those right tires in the grass for just a second. Car came around.
Yeah, and Proenza's going to be fighting some damage too. He hit him pretty hard, unfortunately, so that's going to be a tough go for Proenza. Probably damage he didn't want to pick up, but should be able to carry on, continue on until at least the pit box. Osborne now trying to actually chase down Foguth. Gets a really good run on him. Ooh, contemplated going for the dive, backs out of it though. And we have Guzman sending it up on Arnold, so Guzman takes that from Arnold. And yeah, the Guzman's putting on a bit of a show. They've definitely got the pace. Unfortunately, they just, every time they make an overtake, they make a little bit of a mistake and drop a couple positions back there. And Osborne and Foguth still duking it out, sitting behind Toledo. So great race from them. They're, they've been within a second of each other almost this entire race. So kudos to them. It'll be interesting to see too with the 10-minute pit window if we're gonna have any sort of overtake. Oh goodness gracious, can't talk today. Pit stop strategy come into play. So are they going to try some undercuts, overcuts? It's a big 10-minute window to be able to try and go for those.
I expect to see some shenanigans here. When you're this close to somebody ahead or behind, you got to switch it up somehow, and good way to do that is in the pit stop.
We have Greer trying to go up the inside. Whoa, has to really get on the brakes there. Nova kind of tried to cut off his wing, or front wing a little bit there, but backed out of it, just missing him. We also have Mock trying to join the battle too, so these drivers neck and neck with one another. Couple of Audis. It's nice seeing...
Is that the new Evo 2?
Yeah, I believe so, and it's nice seeing the Audi being utilized a little bit more. Last season, we only had a couple of them on the grid. It's a pretty sweet car. It sounds pretty unique. I'm a big fan. Nova going on the defensive, cuts back in. But Greer definitely eager to get around Nova here.
Hey, you're right. That high revving 10-cylinder really screams.
We got Foguth now trying to chase down Toledo, so this battle between Toledo, Foguth, and Osborne just constantly, I mean, they're all within a second of each other, so great driving from the three of them. We have the Wonder car follow. Foguth goes a little bit deep, and Osborne thought about sticking his nose in there, but Foguth has a great run on Toledo here, basically pushing him around the track. of Foguth goes for a bit of a dive. Toledo really defensive. Foguth is just all over the back, but goes for a big slide, just catches it, but Osborne trying to take advantage now. So good clean racing from these guys, even with a couple of mistakes here and there. They're still managing to stay out of each other's way and not, destroy one another's race by trying to make an ambitious overtake.
Yeah, very respectful racing here out of the top 10, keeping it real close for a long timer.
We have Will Forsling in the back there in P26 trying to overtake Jones. He's just 2/10 back now. Let's see if Will goes for a bit of a dive, and Will sends it up the inside. Late little bit of a dummy, but makes the move stick. Jones tries to stick with him, but job well done. Will is currently holding that position. Jones might have a good run on him though. We have pit window coming up in 1 minute and 30 seconds, so sometimes before, when the pit window's coming up, sometimes not worth it sending it up the inside so close to it. Try to get them in the pits. But for the most part, it looks like Will's hung on to that position. He's going to start trying to chase down K. Martin there, who's, fighting Dan Meyer. And it's nice to see Dan Meyer so far up the field, currently sitting in P23. I believe he started P36 this race.
Yeah, great run from Dan here. Good to see him putting it together. He's generally more on the back marker side, but it seems like he's really got some pace today.
Will's being attacked by both Jones and Katav Carr there. Katav Carr trying to send it up the inside on Jones. Jones is just cutting off guards.
Oh!
Whoa! And Jones just completely missed his braking point. I think he got extremely distracted by the racing there. Katav Carr also misses the braking point. So those guys were so focused on the fighting that they just completely missed each other's braking points and both went into the grass. And I think that's kind of the difference between AM and Pro. In Pro, you're gonna be a little bit more spatially aware. There was good fighting up until the last corner there. Will trying to get around Dan Meyer here, so Will chasing down Dan Meyer. Both tries to go for a little bit of a switchback, so he gets a good run here.
Pit window is opening.
Pit window is now open, so it'll be interesting to see the cars. Who's coming in, who's not coming in. Haven't given much love to Dave Taflovich tonight, but that is just because he's running a little bit of a race on his own. He decides to stay out, so Dave Taflovich not in the pits. I actually know what, I think he's so far up ahead that he wasn't even available to head into the pits. But Busick falling a little bit behind, 3.3 seconds back now. Just not quite able to keep up with the raw pace of Busick. Great seeing Damiani though with a gap. Oh my goodness, has Foguth finally got around Osborne? They are duking it out. Or sorry, I guess it was Osborne actually fighting Foguth, wasn't it? So Osborne is now around Foguth, and right before the pit, or right before they've pit too. So very opportune time to overtake. So Dave has jumped into the pits there. Looks like Busick has stayed out. So Dave, first driver to jump into the... Actually, it looks like we have a whole bunch of drivers into the pits. We do. We have the back of the grid there into the pits. I'm curious to see if Dave is, going to be changing... Oh, it looks like Dave is actually a little bit scruffed up too. I'm not too sure if he's made a bit of a mistake. So Dave has been in the pits for quite a while, so I imagine Dave is actually putting on some fresh boots. Oh, maybe not. Maybe just took a refuel, had half a tank, and headed out.
Oh, big news here for Taflovich getting a stop go 30.
And yeah, you are absolutely right. Taflovich has picked up a stop-go 32nd. That's going to make the race incredibly interesting for him. He's going to have to fight pretty hard in order to regain that top step. We have the field changing left, right, and center with people dumping into the pits. Yoon coming out of the pits now. Arnold coming out of the pits. Turner coming out of the pits. Just a bunch of drivers in the pits. And they're looking to either make their undercut or overcut.
This could be make or break for some of these top 10 runners being so close together, getting a little bit of advantage, find a position, and drive away for the second half.
Absolutely. A driver that I haven't rode on board with yet, but number 555, also apologies for your name pronunciation, but Kayat in the BMW, currently all over the back of Harmouth. There are two drivers that also have yet to pit, so really interesting to see if one dives into the pits and the other doesn't, stays out. Not too much time to make that decision, probably only 2 more laps before you need to finalize whether or not you're jumping into the pits. Otherwise, you take a massive penalty. So Kaya on the back of Harmouth there looks to be jumping into the pits while Harmouth stays out, so going for an undercut there. Toad, Toledo, Damiani, and Busick all have not pit as well, so 4 drivers up front, or sorry, I guess 3 drivers. No, Toad is the 4th. So four drivers up front have yet to pit. Dave Taflovich with the stop-go penalty, currently in P30, and someone has just gone for a spin. I think that might have been Gavin. Gavin looks to have gone for another bit of a spin, gets overtaken by Daniel there. So Gavin, unfortunately, still also without a pit stop too. The grid got really shaken up here. We have Cal Turner on Martin there, so 0.5 back in the Wonder car. Martin has yet to pit, so is going to need to do so very soon. Will Forsling, Gonzalez, and Kayat into the pits. Turner with a fresh pit stop in mind. Tires are probably a little bit more cooled down, which is beneficial on the front lefts at the very least.
Halfway through. Keep pushing.
Trying to chase down Martin for P14. And we have Foguth and Osborne, so they have both gone into the pits and they are neck and neck still, just 0.3 back. So this has been a race-long fight so far. Osborne finally getting ahead of Foguth and maintaining that position out of the pit stops. Busick is into the pits, so Busick has jumped into the pits. Looks like Damiani has stayed out, so Damiani pushing it to the very last lap there before they're going to need to jump in for that required pit stop. Busick,
I like the strategy from Damiani. Seems like he's really comfortable and is willing to keep this pace going before he breaks it up.
Absolutely. If you've gotten into a rhythm, you might as well keep that rhythm going. So Busick with a quick pit stop through the 1 liter of fuel, and they're jumping out. Unfortunately, Will Forsling has picked up a stop-go 30-second penalty to Busick, and this is race changing. Busick has not picked up a stop-go 30-second penalty. Dave Taflovich into the pits to serve their penalty now. And I believe Harmouth has actually just served their stop-go penalty too. So Dave Taflovich into the pits for 30 seconds. That is going to be a dagger to their race win chances. So Damiani still out, still yet to pit, currently leading the AM division race. They were about 4.5 seconds back from Busick, so it'll be really interesting to see where Damiani comes out. They are going to be your 2 race leaders. Oh, and wow, Toledo had to make I believe that was Toledo had to make a huge, oh, it was Rios. Rios had to dodge the living daylights out of Damiani there.
avoidance, but I'm sure that scared Damiani with the position he's in right now.
Absolutely. And that's the nervous thing, especially when you're coming out of the pits and other drivers haven't pit. And, you know, they're still technically racing you, but there's a pit stop behind. It's sometimes a little bit scary coming up behind them and coming around them. So we had a Chabalka, P Chabalka 769 go off the track there. So Damiani still out? Oh, Damiani has come into the pits. Looks like he got down to 50 in time, so hopefully has a good clean exit here. We're going to see if they're throwing on new boots or if they're doing the 1 liter stop and heading right back on out there. Gonna ride on board with Busick to see where Busick is coming through. So Busick already across the finish line, so they had a fantastic outlap.
And Damiani still in the pit box. Might have taken tires there.
Yeah, he didn't take tires. It was too short for tires, but definitely lost a lot of ground to Busick. So something might have happened to Busick as he taps the exit wall for good measure. So Damiani dropping back, and now he has Osborne, who is actually also pit right on the back of him. So, no. And Damiani has gone. No. That is okay, manages to stay out of the wall, but that's going to be a bit of a dagger to Damiani there. So you now have Busick followed by Osborne and Foguth, who have been battling the entire race. Toledo not too far, but back to they have Jones and Rimsk, who are blue flagged, lapped cars, separating them from Damiani, who unfortunately has just gone off. Looks like Proenza has gotten around Hartman there for P16. And Dave Taflovich, unfortunately, sitting all the way back in P15, and they are going to be racing hard. You know that Dave wants to be making ground really quickly. They go super wide at, I believe that's turn 1, and they are behind Rally. This is 4 position. We have Martin into the pits, so Martin, not too sure if they were still waiting to, and they were still waiting to pit. So Martin into the pits, looks like they're also getting new boots as well. Haven't spoken much about Dahi, but Dahi has found himself in P9 after the round of pit stops. Oh, and as I say that, catches a huge curve and has to take a massive save. So
Did you know he's now coast?
Dahi still holding on to that top 10 spot. They will want to still make up a few positions based on where they qualified today, though. You have Arnold all over the back of Toad, just 0.4 back of Toad, and just looking over, Doug, commentator's curse. Yes, that was truly the commentator's curse, so I definitely apologize to Damiani. That was a tough go. Rally has gone off, and Taflovich is now in front. So Rally off track, Taflovich manages to get ahead. Currently in P13 now. With Will Forsling ahead. Flagged. Looks like Kayet has also gone off in the 555 BMW. We have a really close battle a little bit further down in P23, 24, and 25 between Wolfman, Nova, Mock, and Meyer, and it looks like Mock is trying to send it, and it manages to not touch. Doesn't quit the then gets rear-ended by Meyer, unfortunately. So Meyer running into the back of D Mock there. Meyer gives the position back to Mock, which is the right thing to do, but an unfortunate one for that to have played out.
Absolutely, that was a nice little pack there.
It sure was, and we have a lot of drivers a lot of drivers starting to get blue flagged, especially this group, as the front of the field is now catching them. Osborne not too far, just 2 seconds back from this group. Busick with a commanding lead now without having to deal with Dave. He's 10 seconds up, but has a lot of blue flags, tons of blue flags that they're going to need to get around. You know, this is kind of like seeing a borderline pro-am driver needing to navigate through an AM field at the moment. So hopefully it doesn't get too frustrated and the blue flag drivers give way, as Nova does, which is good respect, pulls over to the side, lets off the gas, makes way for Busick to chase down Wolfman now. And it's hard as a driver, especially when you're trying to fight, even if you're at the back of the grid fighting for positions like 24th, 25th. You want to try and keep that gap that you have with the car in front, but ultimately you're being blue flagged. And sometimes you just need to make way. So we have a really...
You're right.
I was just gonna say we have a really close battle between Schaefer, Proenza, and Hartman there. So, you know, for P16, but they're all within about a second of each other. Schaefer just 0.3 back from Proenza, as Proenza's 0.2 back from Hartman. So Proenza has a great run, really great run. Oh, Hartman goes for, that is some really tough weaving. Not too sure about that one. Pretty aggressive, but Proenza manages to stay out of the back of him. Let's see if Proenza is able to set up a run on Hartman here. It looks like he might have. Super close, just 0.1 back, and then we have rear on Schaefer too. We have a huge battle going on. Proenza ducking to the inside. Has the space, goes for the dive. Hartman trying to hold position. Really good driving so far from these two, and we have such a crazy battle going on. Hartman covering off the inside. Oh, and unfortunately gets tagged by Schaefer by man. So Proenza gets tagged by Schaefer, who is trying to make a move on Greer. You know, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, how as you're attacking, it's a double-edged sword where you have to be mindful of the drivers in front of you and behind you. You had two groups of drivers attacking each other at the same time, and fortunately Proenza comes out the worst for wear for that one.
Definitely understand that it can be easy to get the tunnel vision trying to make your one pass and lose sight on the apex and cars ahead of you. Really unfortunate to see there for Proenza.
Yeah, he was, you know, he was making some clean racing with Hartman, and yeah, just unfortunately gets caught up in one of those incidents. You have Dave Taflovich, who's gotten around Kayet at this point, so Dave Taflovich climbing his way back up to P12 after that 30-second stop-go penalty. Unfortunately, there's such a huge gap between Turner and Dahy that Taflovich might only be on for a P10 if he's able to catch Turner before the end of the race here. He has 19 minutes to do so.
All things considered, I think a P10 out of a stop-go 30 would be more than acceptable. I'd be plenty happy with that. Obviously, really frustrating to make a simple mistake in the pit lane, but got to do what you can to salvage the situation.
100%. We have a bit of a train going on between Hartman, Toad, Arnold, and Young. So Arnold really close up to Toad, while Dahy is really close up to Arnold. So this could get pretty spicy. We have Arnold and Harmuth, who are actually teammates as well. So we'll see if they're able to work with each other. Toad goes a little bit deep.
All about the setup here through Maggots and Beckett's. We'll see if anybody can get a run down into Stowe.
Sure is. It looks like Toad had a little bit of trouble through a bit, and it's so tough following through dirty air through this section. So actually, Arnold has had a great exit, but Toad had a pretty decent exit too. Just 0.2 seconds back. Daihi didn't have the cleanest of runs through and exit onto hangars, so dropped a little bit back, 0.8. See if Toad contemplates going through for a little bit of a dive here. Thinks better of it. Goes a little bit deep, kind of opening the door for... and we do have Arnold trying to go up. Oh, but gets cut off, and now Daihi has a run on him. Daihi thinking about sticking his nose in there, thinks better of it. And oh, unfortunately, oh, gets collected by Nova. So that's a rough go for Daihi. Daihi gets collected by Nova while coming back. Nova, blue flag. Might be one for the stewards.
We'll have to see there. Daihi did take an aggressive line, kind of compromised his corner speed. Looks like he might have sustained a little damage there. He's having trouble getting the car turned.
We have a rally right on the back of Kayat now, and actually currently up on their time too. So Rally trying to make ground, currently sitting in P14 behind Kayat. I'm gonna get that name wrong so many times, I apologize, but Kayat in the Beamer, car number 555. And up ahead, Toad, still right on the back of Harmuth, so Harmuth might have had a little bit of a mistake. Let's see if Toad's able to set him up. Heading into the hangar straight. Actually, up ahead we have back markers. Martin and Meyer going head to head. So Martin trying to make a move on Meyer while probably also getting blue flagged. And looks like Martin gets around Dan Meyer there. And they are just really close alongside. Meyer ducks out of the way from Harmuth. Lets both Toad and Harmuth around Arnold to follow through. So good play from Dan Meyer getting out of the way of those three drivers who are fighting for position, fighting for P6. Damiani still sitting in P5 after that incident, so not too bad. Not the end of the world there. Good position at the moment if they're able to hang on. They have a nice cushion of a 12-second gap from behind them for the next driver. Looks like Greer has gone off, so Greer has gone off and dropped back to P20. About 3 or 4 drivers making ground, and whoa, Schaefer has actually gone off too. So Schaefer loses a huge amount of speed, and it looks like Rios is actually going to be able to overtake them. So Rios taking the inside line, gets around Schaefer there for P18. So Schaefer in the span of a corner unfortunately loses a couple of positions, and would you look at that, Harmuth has dropped down 2 positions. They must have made a mistake. Toad probably sent it or forced them into a mistake, and Toad and Arnold are able to get around. So Arnold overtakes his teammate Harmuth. Let's see if Arnold's able to track down Toad here in the final 13 minutes of the race. Guzman going for a big dive on Turner there. Turner's still on the outside. Good respectful driving from these two. Turner covering off the inside, ducks back onto the driving line to take the apex. And while these drivers were actually fighting as well, you have Taflovich who's closed that gap from, it was originally 12 seconds, it's now down to just 4 seconds and 12 minutes to go.
As long as Guzman and Turner keep this gap tight, he might have a real shot at coming at both of them.
Absolutely. Turner going on very defensive, taking the inside line. Let's see if Guzman's able to pull a little bit of a switchback. Might have stayed a little bit too wide there. Has a really good exit out of here. Has a run on Turner here, going into turn 1. Thinks better of it though. Oh, maybe doesn't think better of it. Contemplates sticking the nose in. Doesn't quite work out. Turner holding position for a top 10 finish, and Rally gets back. Gets ahead of Kayat there, so Rally into P13 ahead of Kayat, and he's been setting that up for a couple of laps.
Real close to Turner now.
Tries to go the long way around. Gets the car stopped in time, but makes the move. Job well done by Guzman.
Great positioning there, covering the inside of the right-hander for the complex and getting a better run into the straight.
Absolutely. Yeah, Turner's line was unfortunately. Goodness gracious! Once again, I can't. I'm stumbling over my words, but yeah, Turner's exit was prohibited by Guzman's positioning, and Guzman now trying to. Unfortunately, has a 14-second gap, but hopefully Guzman, with that driving, is able to hold on, and defend as well as Turner defended.
As we said earlier, though, Taflovich getting real close now through all this fighting.
Yeah, within 1 second. So this is about a three-way battle for P10 now. And it looks like Toledo and Damiani. Someone must have had an incident here. So Toledo has had an incident, and I believe it was with a back marker. So Toledo drops down to P6, allowing Arnold to join in on the fight. I'm not too sure who that back marker was. That unfortunately might have been, and thank you, I was trying to say compromised, and Peter helping me out there in the chat. Appreciate that one. So Arnold all over the back of Toledo now after it looks like they had a bit of an incident, potentially with a back marker. There is a lot of cars that are mixed up in this group. I believe Toledo is running with some damage here.
Absolutely. Looks like he might have steering damage. Got a real loose wheel there.
Yeah. Harmouth approaching now, and it looks like Harmouth might be able to make this move on Toledo. As he sends it up the inside, gets the car stopped in time. That's position overtake for Toledo, but Toledo's trying to fight back and unfortunately goes into the side, but luckily bounces Harmouth back into position. So, you know, don't like to see that, but Toledo luckily bounced Harmouth back into position as he gets overtaken by Daihi now too. So Toledo falling down to P9, and you know, there's a 12-second gap, so if he's able to hold on to it, give himself some breathing room, there's a chance that Toledo can maintain that 12-second gap, or at least, you know, maintain position, but we'll have to wait and see. And no, Toledo is into the pits. So Toledo into the pits. Might have also just picked up a stop-go penalty.
It might be close. A little late getting the car slowed down there. We'll see on the exit.
And while we were, you know, following that battle, we had Taflovich jump ahead of Turner there. So Taflovich gets ahead of Turner. Turner's, you know, still within half a second of Taflovich, but Taflovich now on a track for chasing down Guzman too, with 7 minutes to go. And it looks like there is a lot of damage being fixed on Toledo's car. Still sitting in P15, as there is quite the gap. Dahi on the back of Harmouth there, so Dahi Yun all over the back of Harmouth. That's for P7. Tries to go for a bit of a switchback here. Let's see if Dahi's able to set him up. Toledo has left the pits, did not pick up a stop-go penalty, so Toledo comes out P18, just 0.2 back from Greer here, 0.1, so definitely probably driving a little bit angry now. Let's see if Toledo's able to make up some ground with a bit of time.
Tough to see so much damage sustained here with under 10 minutes to go. I'd be kicking myself, but gotta keep your head down, finish the race, and make the best of it.
Absolutely. Looks to have gotten ahead of Greer. Maintains position at the moment. That's a good overtake. And Osborne's got to be careful now too, because Osborne's at the back of them. Osborne, you know, a whole lap ahead, definitely does not want to get involved in this battle.
No, you just gotta hope that they play nice for you, but it's not up to you. You gotta pass safely, as that one's really sketchy. Could have ended badly there.
Yeah, that was a close one. So we actually have Turner all over the back of Taflovich right now too, so Taflovich might have had a little bit of a mistake, and Turner just 0.4 back, and Taflovich has actually lost time to Guzman ahead, so might have run into some back markers and had to strategically work his way around them, but Guzman with a with almost a 3-second gap ahead of Taflovich, down to 2.4, but yeah, Turner says, I'm not done quite yet, giving Taflovich a little bit of a run for his money there.
Absolutely, 4 minutes to go, and now's the time to make something happen.
And that's for a top 10 position as well, big boy points. Dahi trying another switchback on Harmouth, so Dahi really battling for that P7. Had a unfortunate go with the back markers earlier on. And they have a back marker and Martin up ahead, so Martin probably a little bit reluctant giving up that position because P23 is a little bit out of position for Martin, so let's see if he gets out of the way for Harmouth and Dahi to carry on their battle. Sure, Harmouth is probably just screaming into his mic, trying to signal for Martin to get out of the way. And it looks like Martin's pulled off to the side, but not quite. Harm's sending it up the inside, and Martin does not make it easy for them. Hopefully Martin gives Dahey some space to go around. Looks like Martin has backed out, so Martin's backed out. Dahey goes a little bit deep in there, but takes the position over backmarker Martin and reassembles himself in time to chase down Harmon with 2 minutes to go. 3 back.
Still got some time, got another back marker ahead. Might work in Dahey's favor this time.
Dahey has managed to, regain about a second that he lost in that overtaking situation. As Martin goes super deep behind them, but Dahey just 0.2 back from Harmouth, so Dahey's not done yet. He sees these.
See what the BMW does here. Will he get out of the way and let them both through, or will Harmouth get the better end again?
And looks like he might be getting out of the way. Whoa, that's a close one. Whew. Man, Dahey, unfortunately, just struggling with the back markers today, but manages to stay out of that one. Hopefully, he didn't pick up a track warning. That's the one thing about avoiding back markers in this game is it can often lead to picking up track warnings accidentally. So. That would be a nice thing for the game to fix, actually, reading the fact that you're trying to get around a back marker. Back in the field, you have Hoskin. Actually, we have the teammates together here with Hoskin and Mock, the Marlboro teammates, running side by side. So it looks like their pace is leveled out over the course of this race, and they find themselves pretty close for comfort.
Final lap now. Give it all
and Dahey goes around Harmouth, so it looks like Harmouth might have actually made a little bit of a mistake. And Dahey is around Harmouth, and oh, you know what? Harmouth is fuel saving because Martin goes around him too, same as the Marlboros, and all the back markers are going around him now. Ooh.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Harmouth is completely out of gas. He is dropping down the field. So after all of that, Dahey manages to jump up a position. Now Guzman gets around Harmouth too, so unfortunate for Harmouth. Yeah, and you can see hazards are on. He's struggling. Gonna jump on board with Busick here. Busick with a pretty stellar race, new to the series, and might have lost ground to. Might have lost ground to Dave Taflovich at first, but was the cleaner driver, didn't take that penalty as Gavin Thomas gets out of his way. But just a really clean, good race. We didn't give him too much TV time, but that's kind of what happens when you have a dominant performance like he did today.
Absolutely incredible performance, and not a lot of action for him, but that's the way you like it. Never in danger, great pace, well deserved here if he brings it home.
Coming around the final complex here. And BMW once again showing why it's a fan favorite. We have Busick, your AIM driver, race winner for round 1, season 2. Welcome to Sim Racing Alliance. What a performance by car 717.
Well earned, no mistakes, kept it clean, kept it fast. That's all you can ask for P1.
absolutely. And then you have Osborne, also a newcomer to Sim Racing Alliance, picks up P2, followed pretty closely by Foguth. What a battle between those two. They fought Newth and Tail, geez Louise, tooth and nail the entire race. And, they both pick up a podium there. Damiani, unfortunate event with spinning out, but there you go, P4, not a bad way to start your season. Followed closely by Toad and Arnold in P6. Dahi managing to limp across the line after a handful of incidents with back markers, picks up P7. Guzman bringing up the rear in P8, and Dave Taflovich, big recovery drive after picking up that stop-go penalty, picks up a P9, and Kyle Turner rounding out your top 10 with a P10. Race thoughts?
A great race from the top 10 there. We saw a lot of close battles, a lot of close following, respectful lines, and they kept it exciting for us. The midfield had plenty of fights as well, with some 3, 4, 5 car trains going. Saw a little bit of contact amongst back markers and some of the leaders, which is unfortunate to see, but it seems like everybody kind of ended up driving up to their standards, all things considered, and not a bad result from anybody out here.
Yeah, absolutely. I got the first race jitters out. You never want to see too many backmarker incidences, but it's a learning curve, and especially since this is the AM drive, AM field, we have so many new faces in here. They're going to take a couple of races to learn opportune moments of when to pull over, and also opportune moments of when to overtake a backmarker too. It's all about learning, and I'm sure going into the next race and future races after that, we'll see that improvement, and we'll see those drivers kind of clean up their races.
No doubt, seat time and practice is everything in sim racing. Got to do it to get better, and we'll see a lot of these guys clean up and really get a lot faster over the course of the season. Should be a good run for the next 7 weeks ahead.
I'm just going to see quickly here if we're able to pull anyone into... I mean, actually, you know what? I don't see... I could have sworn we had a... oh, yeah, Jess Osborne. Okay, so we're waiting for a Foguth as well. We're going to try and pull these drivers in for a quick little podium interview. So I'll pull Osborne in here. There we go.
Hi there.
Jess Osborne. What a race.
Hello.
Congratulations. P2.
Thank you.
That was one heck of a battle that you had there with Foguth for pretty much the entire race.
Yeah, that was definitely the most exciting bit. I think I just came out a little lucky that he had a moment and I was able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, we...
and then for the rest of it, the stars just aligned because, I mean, from the start of it, not even in quali, I didn't have... I mean, my best lap all day would have put me on P4 for quali. And I was hoping I would pull out more pace towards the end of the race, but I didn't. But it didn't seem to matter because, I don't know, I was really surprised when I came out of the pits because I was expecting to be, P5, P6. But apparently some other people had some issues with their pits because I came out in like P4 and then quickly somebody spun in front of me and I got another one and it was just nuts. I'm so happy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we were kind of watching that. We knew that the pit stop would change a whole lot of places, and there were a couple of drivers ahead of you that picked up the stop-go 30-second penalty from speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah.
So, and we were
really unfortunate there.
Pleasantly surprised too to see that you and Foguth came out of the pit so close too to continue that battle, because it gave us a little bit of a show to continue watching.
Definitely. And then after that, I was pretty fortunate. Most of the blue flags got out of the way pretty quickly and gracefully. So it was pretty boring after that, just bringing it home.
Sometimes a boring race is the best one.
That's right.
Jess, we're going to let you go, but congratulations on P2 and welcome to Sim Racing.
Thanks again.
Take
Great
care.
race, Jess.
All right. I don't have a Foguth, but I'll pull in race winner Bradley Busick. Bradley Busick, welcome to Sim Racing Alliance. What a race, man.
Thank you. You pronounced my last name correctly. That never happens.
I'm pretty sure I mispronounced half the grid tonight, so I'm glad I got at least one right. um, it looked like you were losing ground from Taflovich for a little bit there in the first stint. You hung with him for about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and then he stepped it up into a second gear. But driving a clean race goes to show you that that's the key to success and picking up a strong P1. How'd you feel about Taflovich's pace tonight, and
He's
what's
quick,
to come?
man.
Yeah.
He's really quick. I was with him for a while. I think it was like 8-9 laps, and then I had a little mistake with the back marker. He just broke a little earlier than I expected. My fault. So I slowed down a bit, and then I think we had like a 5-second gap after that, and then I was kind of clawing that back just bit by bit until he had that unfortunate pit stop issue. So hopefully we can come back and have a good fight next race.
Yeah,
that's
you two are. Yeah, you two are definitely the two drivers to watch on the AM series. You guys built that gap really early on. I think you guys were about 10 seconds after the first 15 minutes there. So, two drivers to keep an eye on. We're excited to see how the season plays out, and it's unfortunate that from a commentator and audience perspective that Taflovich had that stop-go penalty. We were looking forward to seeing how the battle might have played out, but congratulations, great first win, and really excited to see you for the rest of the season here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Bradley.
Yep.
All right. I don't believe we have a Foguth here, Evan, so we might actually have to call the stream.
Roger that.
So for all those who tuned in, thank you so much. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel. I'm sure some of the admins or people attending the stream are able to hook up a link, but we're going to upload our race to our YouTube, and we'll try and actually start streaming from there on out. Evan, any leaving words?
Yeah, Trav, this was a lot of fun. We saw a great race. Got me really excited to watch the AM series for the rest of season 2 here. Next week is going to be a Paul Ricard in the wet, bring an umbrella. Get excited. We'll see who has the pace in the wet.
Absolutely. All right. Well, once again, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Peace.